I welcome you here. My name is David DeLulo. We're thrilled to have Jesse Powers live streaming from the best city in Ohio, Columbus. If you've never been there, you've got to go. You got to go. And if this is your first service, we welcome you here. And let's start with our new welcome song. And then right after that, Jesse's going to sing an opening song.
I welcome you here with an open heart and an open mind. I honor that place where the universe dwells in you. I see you through the eyes of unconditional love. I'm so grateful that you're here. I'm so grateful that you're here.
Good afternoon. It's almost bedtime here for me. So I always love to invite people during this song to breathe with me, because this is a love song from the universe to you. And the greatest love song from the universe to you is your inhale and your exhale, and this is your reminder. So everybody inhale and everybody exhale. I don't want to give words to this. Anything you have to interpret will only eclipse the heart of it. I just want to send it in sound with a wavelength clarity. Nothing I could ever say will resonate the same way that this love does in me. Inhale, exhale, breathe. Somewhere in the beat of your heart, there I am. Somewhere underneath all the war-torn believing, and there you have always been. It's something like a melody, it's something like a song, and it sings itself and it's never wrong. Oh, everywhere it plays for me, it's always on repeat. It's the love song of everything. Inhale, exhale, breathe. It's not just there in my body. It's not just there in the thoughts that I think. It's there in the roots, in the skies and the seas, in the eyelids, the irises, the wind and the wings, in the will be, the ever was, the reason and the just because. I am the song that I sing. Inhale. You know the next part. Exhale.
Thank you, Jesse. That was beautiful. Denise will lead us in our opening prayer.
Good evening. And let's continue in that deep breathing, breathing easily in and out. I pray to open my mind and heart to a greater understanding of what my life can become. I recognize the one presence and power active in my life as health, abundance, peace. I am one with and now claim the principles of strength and faith. I keep my thoughts focused on the possibilities ahead, knowing that all is well and everything I need is already provided. I move forward with ease and grace, pursuing the life of my dreams. I am grateful for this spiritual insight and fresh perspective grounded in faith as I move forward with greater clarity and purpose. And so it is.
Thank you, Denise. And Chris, if you could lead our meditation. Oh, your inaugural meditation with us.
So let's just get comfortable in your seat. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing so, or just focus on an object in the room or on the beautiful picture of the night sky on your screen. Let yourself just fall into that sacred space. Gently inhale, exhale. With every breath, feeling your body relax more and more, your jaw muscles loosening, your shoulders untightening. All your muscles are just soft and loose. Notice the calm feeling of peace flowing through you now. Breathe in peace. Breathe out peace. Every inhale deepens the peace and calm in mind, body, and soul. Inhaling peace. With every exhale, radiate peace. Radiating peace out to this room, out to our Unity family, out across the world and to the universe. You may feel yourself smiling at this blessed feeling of sacred peace, giving and receiving with every breath. Let us go into the silence for a few moments and be present in this peace. Peace. Be still. Know that you can carry this peace with you throughout this evening, throughout the week, and beyond, knowing all is well. And so it is, my friends.
Betsy, if you'll lead us in today's readings.
Today's reading is adapted from the Unity Daily Word. Few things are as comforting as being able to trust completely. Trust means I can relax, knowing I will be supported on my journey. When I trust, I feel comfortable trying new things and taking chances, believing that even if I trip, I'll have help getting up again. I have known trust with many people in my life. I treasure their encouraging words and steadfast presence that has helped me grow into the person I am today. But even as people come and go, God within me and all around me remains the most enduring presence. I am no longer troubled by the changing world and the impermanence of things, because I trust the one presence that is with me always. And so it is. And now please join me as we declare what we believe. There is only one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life, God in everything and everyone. God is the unlimited source of love, abundance, harmony, health, intelligence, and joy, expressing as me.
That was beautiful. Thank you. So, I always like to tell people this is your opportunity. If there's something that you need to forgive yourself for, so you can know that you are supported by this amazing, beautiful universe. If there's something that's in the way that you did, or something somebody said you did, that you haven't forgiven yourself for, now is the time. So hold it in your heart and sing this song to that thing, to yourself. Here we go. So many years I've hidden, so many lies I've told, the ignorance of youth, or a woman too afraid of truth. So many things mistaken, so much guilt I hold, buried alive like a weight on my chest, stole my breath and I went cold. And how I long for the warmth of love, for the softer side of me. The time is now, I shall be free. I forgive myself. I forgive myself. I forgive myself. I forgive, I forgive, I forgive, I forgive myself for everything. Expectations shattered, promises unkept. So many times I swore I'd change. Years go by and I'm still the same. And how I long for tenderness and grace at my own hands. I am the one, I understand. I forgive myself. I forgive myself. I forgive myself. I forgive, I forgive, I forgive, I forgive myself for everything. Hey. illusions seem that hope and trust were just another couple illusions. Somewhere deep inside I realize I am worthy. I am somebody who can be relied on. So I'm gonna put my faith in me. I put my faith in me once again. I have found redemption. I put my faith in me. I put my faith in me once again. Oh, I have found redemption. I forgive myself. I forgive myself. Oh, I forgive. I forgive. I forgive, I forgive myself. I forgive, I forgive, I forgive, I forgive myself for everything. Okay, it's your turn. Take that thing that you know you want to forgive yourself for, because it's about time. You've been carrying it around for way too long. And you can sing out loud in the room, or you can sing it in your heart. Here we go. I forgive myself, let it go. I forgive myself. I forgive myself. I forgive myself. Really do it. Really forgive yourself. I forgive myself. I forgive myself. One more time. I forgive myself. I forgive myself for everything.
Wow. Jessie, that was so beautiful. That was so, so beautiful. Thank you for being here with us today and just gracing us with your songs and your playing and your voice. And we so appreciate you. And, you know, I didn't quite think of it this way, but what she was singing about is one of those consequential choices that you make in life, to forgive yourself, to let yourself off the hook. And choices are so powerful in our lives. They make up the fabric of our lives as we decide each day, am I going to be happy today? Will I have hope today? Will I be grateful today? Will I choose to react or not react today? How will I show up? Will I show up today in my life? And of course, there are big decisions in life that shape our destiny. And it seems that even if we choose unwisely, that grace has a way of coming back to us again and letting us make those choices again, or letting us choose differently. And that's what grace does. I've been thinking about this topic of choices all week, especially after Greg Lavoie's workshop last Saturday, where he asked us to imagine that you are standing at a crossroads and there is a signpost in front of you pointing in divergent directions. So 2 signs. So what word or phrase is written on each of these 2 signs? It's a powerful exercise. So maybe close your eyes and think of that right now. And I'll say it again. Imagine that you are standing at a crossroads, this fork in the road. And there's a signpost in front of you with 2 signs, each pointing in different directions. What word or phrase is printed on those signs? Maybe it's money and creativity. Maybe it's practical and adventurous. Maybe it's safe and risky. Maybe it's known and unknown. But the question again reminds us how powerful choices can be. Some choices are, as I've said, huge lifetime choices that we can make. I was thinking that one such choice for me was when I made the choice that I was going to become my mom's full-time caregiver after her stroke. This is one of those choices that was actually, even though it was a big choice, it was easy. It was almost like it was manifest. Like some people thought I was crazy, but it was one of those decisions that you don't need anyone's corroboration or approval on. And maybe you can recall one of those decisions that you've made in your life. When I made that decision, in 2 days, and that's how long she was in the hospital, I left my job, I left my house, I bought a floor mat, and I slept on the floor in the living room outside of her bedroom for a year and a half, because that's the only way I could tend to her. It's the only way I could hear her and reach her when she needed me. And this choice was visceral in me. I will call it, I think of choices coming from the head, the heart, or the gut. This was definitely a choice that I felt in my heart and my gut, because to many people it didn't make sense. But I just knew. I knew that this was the way that my mom was going to heal. The doctors advised against it. They said put her in a facility, but I knew my mom, and that's what I was going to do. Similar life choices, such as choosing your life partner, have that same manifest destiny kind of a feeling. This is who I'm supposed to be with, regardless of whether the relationship lasted or not. It was that feeling in your gut that you followed, sometimes against logic, right? You followed your heart and your gut. And many other big consequential choices, though, are not so easy. They're not so manifest, and sometimes they keep coming back at you. I talked last week about my decision of quitting drugs 25 years ago, but that was actually a choice that presented itself to me as a fork in the road many times before I would finally choose. And when I did choose, it felt like an epiphany. That's how strong it was. It just blossomed up within me. They say that important choices postponed, or perhaps choices that are the wrong choices that we make, will come back to you in different forms. They'll keep coming back over and over again. It's like the universe saying, are you sure? Are you sure, David, that you want that? For instance, some of us keep on choosing the same type of relationship over and over again, or we choose the same horrible boss over and over again until we learn not to do that anymore. Einstein said, it was actually someone else's quote, but Einstein is most noted for this quote: "The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result." So there finally comes a time when we learn, oh my gosh, I've been doing that over and over again. I'm not going to do that anymore. And in this thinking about choices, some choices are so subtle that we don't really know that the choice had consciously been made. For instance, we all choose to come here every week. Maybe that's a conscious choice. It's consequential. And I think we choose to come here every week because our soul is yearning to hear something new. Our soul is yearning to grow. But sometimes choices like the friends that are in our lives, our attitudes, our forgivenesses or our unforgivenesses, our grudges, some of these choices are ones that we don't consciously make. They just happen. They happen. But I still think they're choices nonetheless. I mean, if you can think of some of your friends today, you don't remember a point where you said, that person I choose as a friend. It just happens organically, and it's a choice your soul makes. Some choices are super hard to make, so you avoid them. It's called the choice of no choice. And there's a song by the rock band Rush that says, if you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. So it would appear that you're not making a choice, but you really are. And there's an anonymous quote that says, "What you allow is what will continue. What you allow is what will continue." So are you allowing something just by not choosing differently? So in all my thinking about choices this week, my theory is this. My theory is the more conscious decisions, the more conscious choices we make each day, the faster we will grow. Why? Because every day, unconscious decisions are being made at a faster rate. And those decisions are based on the reactive mind. They may be based upon past conditioning. They may be based on phantom fears, perhaps. They may be just based on our 5-year-old mind, on our 12-year-old mind in the driver's seat, right? And sometimes they're made, quite often, by a part of our brain called the amygdala. It's the region, it lives in the region of our brain that is associated with fear. And the amygdala has us reacting instead of responding. It has us in the past instead of the present. It is part of what people call the mammalian brain. It's the animal self in us. And the amygdala is the part that activates the fight and flight response without any initiative from your conscious mind. It does its thing. And there's an author, I forgot his name, but he calls this the amygdala hijack. That part of you that senses danger, it signals your body chemistry to release cortisol and adrenaline and all kinds of other things in situations where maybe it's uncalled for. Have you ever had a verbal argument with somebody where you got so angry that you were shaking? Have you ever had a situation where it was a situation at work or maybe in a social setting where you got nervous and you felt shaky for no reason, for no good reason, and your body was just kind of like doing these things on its own? That's the amygdala, and that's the part of us that we really must leave our animal consciousness behind and marry with our human, our higher consciousness, right? And in a way, it's kind of funny. In order for us to save the planet and save the animals, we have to get out of animal consciousness, survival consciousness, fear consciousness, and get into higher realm consciousness. So by using the part of our brain that makes conscious choices, we can override the amygdala, we can override fear by being aware, and we can program our lives. Essentially taking power back each time we make a conscious, aware decision to respond instead of react, right? There's something called Dianetics where they talk about the reactive mind. It's basically all the recordings, tape recordings back here that don't serve you any longer, calling the shots reactively instead of consciously. So the fear from the amygdala sometimes makes us choose to hide from things instead of lashing out. It makes us want to just not show up. But when we choose to hide and avoid all of our fears, our world shrinks. Our world shrinks. Sherry Huber wrote a book on fear where she draws a picture of just someone's world just getting smaller and smaller and smaller with fear. And getting out of this, there's a quote that comes to mind from Anais Nin, the author, who said, "And the day came when the risk it took to remain tight inside of the bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom." And I'll say that again. "And the day came when the risk it took to remain tight inside of the bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom." Is there such a time in your life when you decided to blossom? I have a story about blossoming that happened to me recently. It's happening right now. I have a new job, as you know, and it's a big job. And I have people reporting to me and a lot of responsibilities. And I was anxious and teeter-tottering every day, especially the first handful of days on the job. If I had a good day, I would just paint the whole experience bad. Good. If I had a bad day, I would paint the whole experience bad. And I kept on teeter-tottering back and forth between confidence and fear. And I knew that this was a threshold. I had been here before. I knew this was a threshold or a fork in the road that I needed to cross again. And I'm not exactly a spring chicken. I wanted to consciously do it right this time. I didn't want to do it like I had done it in the past. I wanted to fully show up with my authentic self. So knowing that this was a threshold, there's a statue beside my bed of Ganesh, and Ganesh is the Lord of Thresholds. Ganesh is one of those ways that source energy and our divine selves talk to us. And I turned that statue so it was angled right towards me, so it would be looking at me while I slept. And I turned towards that statue and I asked for guidance through this threshold. And over the next few days, I decided to choose trust, complete trust, to choose showing up and not hiding, to choose feeling safe, because that's a decision that I can make on my own rather than look towards the outside for asking the outside world, are you safe? Are you safe? Are you safe? In every interaction, instead of me asking that, I can just determine I am safe. And consequently, work each day got better and better and better and better. And it's quite miraculous that this job is just blossoming because I'm blossoming within it. So going back to thresholds, is there a threshold that is presenting itself to you now? Is there a threshold that keeps coming back to you? Is there a fork in the road, or maybe you see it as a series of doors to be opened? That's a doorway that keeps on presenting itself to you. No matter where you are in your life, I think getting smarter about making choices and making decisions, whether they're small ones or big ones, doing that wisely is a life skill. It's a spiritual skill. There is an author and a consultant named Stacey Hagen that has a few pieces of advice that I wanted to share with you. And the first one that she has about making decisions is stop waiting for your light bulb moment. The first aspect in making any decision is to know that there's a massive gray area, she says, a massive gray area in life where things aren't always black and white and you don't always know what's right or wrong. So if you're sitting around waiting for a massive light bulb to click on saying, go forth, you may be waiting there forever. So just choose, and maybe associate with your gut. Maybe meditate and get in touch with what feels intuitively right. Next, Stacey Hagen says, strengthen your decision-making in small ways. Don't get hung up on the small decisions. Don't get hung up on small things. So practicing and honoring the first thought that comes to mind and taking some chances is a good exercise. There's no need to wait until you're 100% certain. Make those decisions about the small things, and they'll help you kind of make the bigger ones more easily. And the next one is very spiritual advice, and it's maybe what the theme of my talk is. It's basically trust yourself and the universe in decision making. Don't anticipate fear. Don't anticipate the worst outcome. Often we have no proof that a certain fear will come true, but we believe in the fear anyway, right? Isn't it funny how we have faith in fear instead of faith in trust, right? So instead of believing in that fear, why not believe in its opposite? There's a word called paranoia, but there's also a word called pronoia. So why not exercise pronoia? Oh my God, something wonderful is going to happen today. If I make this decision, it's going to be the best decision of my life because things are waiting for me that are so wonderful. They're beyond what I can currently imagine. That's pronoia. So lastly, we must be willing to let go of paths and choices taken, according to this author. Letting go of regret for the options that we didn't consider, letting go of wondering what if we had gone that way, and what if, and I should have done this and I should have done that. I have one of those regrets. The first thing I thought of was when when I got married to the wrong person. That's one of them. Another one is I regret foreclosing my house, because it was advised, hey, David, you need to foreclose this house. If I would have hung on to it longer, I would have, I could have, I should have, right? But it's gone. I can't reinvent the past. I can't go back there. It doesn't work that way. And whatever is happening or whatever happened is a gift. It's for me. Everything in your life is for you. That's a wonderful mantra, isn't it? This is for me. So I'd like for you to take a moment to just, if you have a piece of paper, or if you just want to imagine this in your head, just do an exercise for a moment with me. And that is identify with your choices by writing down a few sentences that begin with the words, I choose. I'll give you an example. I choose to show up. I choose to grow spiritually. I choose to love myself the most. I choose to prioritize my mental health. So you fill in the blank right now. Let's just take a minute. And as you're writing, you can evolve this even more to just pick one word or one phrase and say something like, here's what I have on my list. I choose trust. I choose happiness. I choose joy. I choose authenticity. I choose possibilities. So as you think about that and maybe finish that up on your own time, I will say that I think each choice is a spiritual invitation. How will you show up? In your choices, you're identifying your values. So how will you show up, and will you show up in your own life for yourself? You can be completely alone in a room, not showing up for yourself, right? Or you can be completely alone in a room, deciding to show up for yourself. Self-care is one of those ways. So I'm going to leave you with a spiritual choice that we all must decide every day. And this is Albert Einstein again, who said, I think the most important question facing humanity is the universe a friendly place? This is the first and most basic question all people must answer for themselves. So notice this doesn't have a correct answer or an incorrect answer, right? They say that the pessimists are right and the optimists are right. Which one do you want to be? And this is a time in history where we could very easily say the universe is not a friendly place. But what will happen if you decide that the universe is a friendly place? What will happen? How will you change, and how will that change the world? I'll end with a quote that came to me that I had not seen before from A Course in Miracles. And it has to do with choices too. And it says this: I am responsible for what I see. I choose the feelings I experience, and I decide upon the goal I would achieve. And everything that seems to happen to me, I ask for and receive as I have asked. Deceive yourself no longer that you are helpless in the face of what is done to you. Acknowledge that you have been mistaken, and all effects of your mistakes will disappear. So that last one is a little tricky, that stopped me up a little bit. Acknowledge that you have been mistaken. And I say, I have been mistaken for 56 years in terms of letting my past and my unconscious mind and my lack and limitation mind show up first, right? That's where I have been mistaken. And so, like this quote says, I think this quote says, when I am aware that I am not helpless in the face of what has been done to me and start to show up consciously, all the mistakes will disappear. I have one more quote, and this comes from an unusual source. It comes from Netflix. Some of you may be watching Netflix periodically. And I saw a series recently called Colony. And it actually had a few spiritual quotes. And the one that stuck out to me for today was this from season 2, episode 1. Even the greatest of us makes 2 or 3 critical mistakes in our lifetimes. It's the choices we make today that will determine our future. And so it is. So I invite you to put your view into gallery mode. And let's just have a moment of prayer. Going within. Let's just ask to be more aware of the thresholds that are presenting themselves to us in our lives. Let's ask to be more aware of our power in choosing. Let's ask to have more opportunities every day to make conscious choices instead of unconscious reactions. As we grow higher and higher and raise our vibrations higher and higher, I know that we're here to learn. This is a learning place. Myrtle Fillmore said, this is a school. I believe it's so. And so as we decide more and more, we get to exercise the power of co-creation that is the main principle, the pivotal principle of unity itself and of all new thought. So I'm grateful for this awareness of my own power to choose. So I expand now into recognizing my own power to heal myself and recognizing the healing power of prayer. I spread this energy out to the world right now. And anyone else you would like to add to this prayer blanket, this place of trusting, this place of knowing, this place where we choose to see what we believe instead of believing in what we see on the surface. And so it is. And at this time, if you would help me with some of our closing prayers. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that we are, all that we have, all that we give, and all that we receive. These generous love offerings do good work in our community and beyond, and they are returned to us multiplied abundantly. And our closing prayer: the light of God surrounds us. I am that light. The love of God enfolds us. I am that love. The power of God protects us. I am that power. The presence of God watches over us. I am that presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And Jesse, if you'll sing us out.
I will. Thank you so much for your beautiful talk, David. Linda, thank you for the announcements and the shout out. Yes, please go check out my music. I just released an album in August, and it will nourish your soul, hopefully. So, the song's called Rise, and I'll just say this now. I choose to rise up in the morning, get into my body and out of my head, and to start loving myself a whole lot more. Here we go. These days I've been having trouble waking up. I'd rather stay asleep than try to believe in a higher love. And I think I'm fooling everybody else. I say that I know that I'm loved, but I don't, 'cause I'm still punishing myself. You see, I've been holding it in, this brilliant light. They told me it was intimidating, so I've been keeping it inside. But when I woke up this morning, I realized that something this bright is destined to rise. So I gotta rise. I'm gonna rise up from my bed, get into my body and out of my head. I'm letting go of holding on to the notion that something's always wrong. I'm incredible, it's beautiful, this life that I live. So I'm gonna hold my head high like the queen that I am, living my life for the wonder that it is. These days I've been having trouble getting mine. Stuck still in a tiny bubble, just watching my life roll by. And I get anxious, I'm afraid of everyone else. But to be honest, it just gets worse when I'm alone with myself. You see, I've been holding it back, this power inside, too scared to act. And so I live in my mind, but now I see power is in my nature. And just like day comes after night, naturally I gotta rise, I gotta rise. So I'm gonna rise up from my bed, get into my body and out of my head. I'm letting go of holding on to the notion that something's always wrong. I'm incredible, it's beautiful, this life that I live. So I'm gonna hold my head high like the queen that I am, living my life for the wonder that it is. It ain't enough to just believe. Living life is a physical kind of spirituality. It ain't just in the movement of your mind, it's the movement of your feet. It's in the steps that you take. It's the body of life. It's the love that you make. It's the way that you rise. So I'm gonna rise up from my bed, get into my body and out of my head. I'm letting go of holding on to the notion that something is wrong. I'm gonna rise up from my bed, get into my body and out of my head. I'm letting go of holding on to the notion that something's always wrong. I'm incredible, it's beautiful, this life that I live. Oh, we're incredible, we're beautiful, and in this life that we live, we're incredible, it's beautiful, this life that we live. So I'm gonna hold my head high like the queen that I am. Are you gonna hold your head high like the king or queen you are? I'm gonna hold my head high, hold my head high, hold my head high, hold my head high, hold my head high like the queen that I am, living my life for the wonder that it is.
so awesome.
Thank you. Ah, thank
Thank you, Jesse. Oh my gosh. If I could do that, oh wow. Wow, wow, wow. It's so awesome. But hey, I don't need to because you're doing it. And we've got to have you back. I'm so glad I found you, and I'm so glad that you were able to connect with us today. Your heart just comes through every word and every note.